to a fisheye lens, which is normally a lens we don't recommend for portraits, but in this case, if he's kind of a stylish guy and this is going to give a real stylized shot, let's give it a whirl. Here we go. So we're going to come in here, and with the fisheye, I've got to be careful I don't get my own flash in the shot. But we get some great shots with the Orbis reflecting back stars in his eyes, quite literally, and that really does look really smart. I love that. That's superb. Okay, so there we go. There are 3 different things you can do with an everyday ring flash that isn't traditional ring flash photography. It's all about experimenting, about trying different ideas and seeing what works and what doesn't. Now, all we need to do is get one of these pictures into Photoshop and we'll do some editing on it right now. It's always great when you come out of a shoot with lots of pictures, in fact too many to choose from for editing purposes, but the one I'm going to do is one from the early part of the shoot where we used the Orbis ring flash simply as an off-camera small softbox. So this is the raw file. We're here inside of Photoshop CC, although this would be exactly the same if you're in Lightroom's Develop module. Now really the first thing I'm going to do is what I had in my head, and that was to take the clarity slider and really push this hard. Now normally with clarity we would go the other way, we'd go and soften things out, but this isn't that kind of portrait. This is a hard, gritty, very low-key, moody shot, and this will take lots and lots of clarity. Next thing I'm going to do is just have a look at the blacks in this picture because it really is low-key. I'm going to turn on the clipping warning for the blacks, and I can see there are a few, but not as many as I would like. So let's get the black slider and we'll just pull this down until basically everything goes black. Okay, we can turn off the warnings now, that's fine. So now I know I've got some really nice deep blacks in there, and that's what gives this picture really that low-key feel, those heavy, oppressive blacks. Whites, yeah, we could probably do with a little bit more whites in here as well, just to give a little bit more brightness, but you'll look at the histogram, and if you didn't see the picture, you'd think this is a very underexposed picture. That's why histogram should only ever be used as a guide rather than a rule, because it's absolutely fine. Colours, well, I'm actually going to bring the vibrance down on this picture, just to mute the colours down a little bit, something like that. But I will push the saturation up a tiny bit, just so we don't lose all colour in there. And that gives me, again, that nice kind of moody colour scheme. Okay, now that's everything I want to do here as far as the global changes goes, and Photoshop RAW and Lightroom are able to do both global changes and local changes. And by local changes, I mean using a paintbrush. And the brush here in Photoshop RAW is this one, the adjustment brush. So with the adjustment brush, I can change all sorts of things, but the thing I really want to change at the moment is probably just the highlights. So on Photoshop, I can just simply click the minus sign, everything else gets reset, and I can just bring the highlights down because these are the brightest parts of the picture, and I don't want them to be. So let's just cover those up, and maybe not quite as dark as that. I want the mouth area and the face to be the brightest part. So that's looking pretty good. Now, obviously we have the issue with the hoodie. Actually, this is my hoodie, not Iffy's. I loaned him this for the purposes of photography. So if there's any style issues, it's not because he isn't stylish, it's because he borrowed my jacket. But the hood is a little bit too bright, and it makes sense because it's being lit from above, isn't it? So that's where the bright part's going to be, and we just need to tone that down just a little bit. So here with the adjustment brush, I'll add a new pin, and this time I'm just going to set the exposure. Let's go -2 stops, and we'll get a nice big brush, and we'll just loosely paint over the top of his hood like that. Okay, that looks pretty good. Now I'm going to do it again. So let's make another new brush, and we'll start in a different place. So we get the pin in a different place, and we'll just paint in the edges just to soften that down. Okay, that feels much more menacing now. That's good. Last thing is the eyes. Now I deliberately let the eyes go dark. That was part and parcel of the shot and the look. They're not completely dark though. Have a close look. When you have a close look, you'll be able to see that things aren't totally dark in the eyes. If we just zoom in down here, there are just the merest hint there. Depending on how you've got your monitor set up, you may just be able to see them. Just to bring them out just a tiny little bit, I'm going to get the shadows. We'll make another new brush, and we'll make the shadows just a little bit brighter, just to bring a tiny little bit of detail out from that part of the picture. Okay, so just a little bit brighter on the shadows, so there is the hint of eyes, and maybe just a little bit more clarity on there as well, just so they come through. Now, trouble is, if you go and do something like that, and we go in even closer, you will see there is quite a bit of noise starting to appear. And bearing in mind I've done no noise reduction at all so far, what I would do here is just find the noise reduction for that pin, and let's just make sure we're working on the right pin. We are. So I'm going to take the noise reduction all the way up to maximum, and we'll bring the moire reduction up as well, and that helps to remove those sort of stripy lines that you can sometimes get. So there we go, that's a great picture and a great result, and using the Orbis Ring Flash has really given us some creative options. Now, if you want to see more videos from myself and the other amazing presenters here on Adorama TV, you've got to click on the subscribe button. I'm Gavin Hoey, that's Iffy, thanks for watching.
Great looking prints at low cost? Be sure to visit our easy to use online printing service. Adorama Pix has professionals who treat your images with the utmost care that you can count on. For a quick turnaround on photos, cards, or albums, use AdoramaPix.com.